Okay, so thank you everyone again. Welcome. So this evening, I really wanted to kind of just go through a few things for the next 30 minutes or so to really see the differences in the qualifications at the WSET School London between levels 2 and level 3, and what you can really expect as you go up these kind of levels. So. What you're going to be learning, what you need to really already be understanding as well, the benefits of studying at the school, what kind of options we provide, what kind of resources and assistance we can offer to our students as well. What is your expectations on what you need to do as well when you study, and all the kind of logistics of booking and so forth. If anyone has any questions throughout the presentation, we will be doing a kind of quick question and answer at the end. So please put all your questions in the Q&A and in the chat. My colleague Rachel is monitoring that, and we'll go through as many as possible at the end of this presentation. Okay. So first things first, about the kind of WSET in general, and this applies to the majority of our qualifications, how we build upon previous knowledge and what is expected of successful candidates at each of these levels. If we're talking about kind of level 1 knowledge, really a level 1 qualification is learning the real just fundamental facts. What is the aromas of this particular spirit? What is the location where these spirits are produced? And it really is just kind of building those facts and building that memory that you're able to recall from, and not necessarily being able to comprehend different production choices or how you could manipulate a certain spirit or category in order to create something different or unique. Once we go up to kind of level 2, the level of knowledge kind of builds. It's still relatively based around just recalling information, but now rather than just recalling a list of facts, a list of names, you need to be able to more define certain things. So define categories, define styles, what different production methods are as well, being able to kind of use this knowledge, start applying this knowledge, and being able to build upon what you learned at level 1. So turning it up a gear or two. How that then differs, so that's where we're really at once you've completed your level 2 studies. How that differs to our level 3 is really in the application of that knowledge. We'll see questions that are not just based on being able to recall the relevant information, but really being able to understand and explain why certain factors or decisions in the production of certain spirits or examples will be taking place, and how they really have an impact on the style, the quality, and the price of the spirits that you're studying. So now you'll really be able to not just describe, but really understand the whys of what's going on. And the assessment that we'll cover a little bit later really goes into this higher application of knowledge to really separate successful candidates from those who are less successful. Okay. So how else do we kind of level up compared to the level 2 qualification? So obviously we'll go into a higher degree of kind of application of knowledge, but we also broaden the net as well. We will learn about the kind of key principal categories of spirits that we're already beginning to discuss at level 2. So our American whiskies, our Scotch whiskies, our cognacs, armagnacs, Caribbean rums, vodkas, gins. But we will go into them in a lot more detail, and we'll talk about the production methods of these principal categories, my apologies, of spirits, and really go to that extra degree of application of knowledge. So I really understand how different bits of equipment, different fermentation techniques, different distillation techniques can really enhance or change the styles of spirits within those categories. We'll also go into a dive into brand new categories. Learning about over 30 categories in total, with the core 11 principal major categories that we discuss, but also a lot of very interesting and fascinating categories from across the world, through unique kind of Mexican traditional spirits that aren't just mezcals and tequilas, to distillation techniques that have a long and rich history in places like China and Japan and Korea, so more Asian kind of traditions of distillation, and more categories in France and in other kind of traditions of making brandies and whiskies, etc. So we'll go into a lot of new and exciting categories, as well as really shoring up our foundation on the kind of principal spirit categories of the world. We do expect that anyone who signs up to the level 2 will have been able to pass the level 3 will have been able to be passed the level 2 award in spirits. So we kind of take that as read, that every student that comes through will have that degree of knowledge. So we really want to use that as a foundation to build that extra degree of knowledge on them, and to make sure that we are able to assess and kind of show what is expected in an ideal kind of candidate. We have a slightly more in-depth examination. So we still have a multiple choice questionnaire, 50 questions, which is the same assessment that we have at level 2. However, the questions are going to be of a much more challenging nature, less obvious incorrect answers, less just simple banker type questions. So there will be a little bit more distractors, and maybe casting that wider net on some of these new spirit categories that we need to learn about. There's also where you need to really show your ability to explain principles and explain categories with short and answer questions. So a variety of different essay questions, each with different marks, with some short form, some 10-mark questions, some 20-mark questions, to really kind of highlight different depths of knowledge, and really kind of ascertain your knowledge. There's also a tasting examination. So we'll have a blind tasting of 2 spirits, and they will be selected from the principal spirit categories, the core 11. So you'll know on which kind of set they could be from. But within those 11 principal categories, of course, there's a range of different quality levels. There's a range of different styles from individual producers. So this is still a somewhat challenging exercise, but we'll make sure that you have all the resources and the help to build those skills and be able to give really good, clear descriptions of spirits and justify your conclusions as well. So you'll have some really good stuff there. Okay. So that assessment that we just described, you need to obviously do well in order to get a passing mark. So the passing grade is 55%. So you need to pass all elements. So the tasting paper, the multiple choice questions, and those short and answer questions all need to be above that threshold. And then the 3 separate elements of both the tasting, multiple choice, and those short and answer questions are kind of aggregated together. And it's the average of all of those 3 assessments is going to be your passing. And if you're between 55% overall and 64% overall in those 3 elements, then you will have a pass. If you have an ability to get up to 65% to 79%, then you'll be able to be awarded a merit. And those students who are able to get above 80% will be able to be awarded a distinction. And for that as well, we need to make sure that none of those individual elements are lower than 65% as well. But these are achievable with the amount of study that you'll be able to put in, hopefully, and a real kind of badge of pride for those who are able to get these merits and distinctions as well. So the benefits of kind of studying this qualification, from actually deciding to go up from a level 2 to a level 3, We go into a lot more detail in tasting. So we are building on the SAT that we've already started with at level 1 and level 2, but we go into a lot more depth in describing the textures of spirits, the aromas of spirits, being able to identify where aromas in the glass originate. So whether they come from the raw material in question through choices in fermentation, distillation, maturation, being more accurate and more descriptive. But also what is, I think, the most useful for the skills of our students going out into their place of work, or if they're just doing it for their own personal pleasure, just be able to really accurately conclude certain elements of quality. So being able to differentiate between spirits that are just very good and spirits that are outstanding, or spirits that are acceptable in quality rather than good in quality. And being able to justify these arguments in a really systematic methodology, which I think is fantastic. The theory knowledge is absolutely fantastic. The level of detail we go into, it was one of my most enjoyable courses that I've done through the WSET, and really ignited a lot of excitement and interest in categories that I didn't really know much about before, and am now absolutely loving and passionately trying to get people to try. But really, it goes into so much detail in production and all these different kind of 34 different categories. That is absolutely fantastic. These skills are really amazing if you're in the kind of drinks business, in kind of retail, hospitality, and many other kind of roles in marketing or sales, to really be able to understand the unique selling points, or the quality of certain different spirits, to be able to really kind of up the offering that you're able to do in your place of work, but also kind of increase the quality of the spirits that you may well enjoy on your travels, or when you're throwing dinner parties, or just relaxing with your loved ones, and being able to share with something that is delicious. So yeah, absolutely fantastic. It really does make you into a spirit expert at the end of the day. Why the WSET School in London in particular? So obviously the WSET has many providers across different markets and in different locations. So why choose the school in London? We are the flagship provider, and we really pride ourselves in selecting the perfect samples, in our opinion, for each of the categories. I am involved in the selection myself. It is a collaborative effort for people who are really knowledgeable and really passionate about different categories, able to source from multiple suppliers in a place like London, which is absolutely fantastic. So we're able to get traditional spirits from far afield, able to get them here, which may be harder in other markets. And yeah, absolutely fantastic samples that really highlight the key categories and the key kind of choices in production, to not only excite and give you this opportunity, but to really help reinforce the theoretical knowledge that you would be studying in class and at home. World-class educators, if I do say so myself. We have an absolutely fantastic team in the school. We've all done our WSET qualifications, and all just kept learning from there, and are very keen and excited to share what we've learned on our travels and through our time in the drinks business. So we have some absolutely fantastic spirit educators who work for various companies, and will offer their kind of expertise. And then also the core team of internal educators, which myself is a part of, who have been in the drinks business for, well, personally for 21 years now, which is quite scary in my eyes. But so hopefully be able to share lots of their experience and their journey through these wonderful categories. We also offer a really comprehensive student deals package. So if you sign up for any of our qualifications, you will be able to access some really fantastic deals. A lot of them are for local to the school coffee shops and lunch options for students who are studying in the school. But for those who are maybe learning from a distance, there are other kind of deals which include kind of publications of magazines or some publishers that produce books on subject matters, to deals on drinks merchants, so you're able to get a discount on picking up some samples that you might want to be using for revision or for your own personal needs after the course is finished. So lots of fantastic deals. Would provide you with a kind of a card that you're able to access onto a website and keep up to date with all the different deals that are available. It keeps getting added to, so lots of new and exciting things that you can take advantage of. We also provide our students with plentiful additional resources as well. So we're always busy in producing new material, whether it's kind of videos that you're able to watch, whether it's new practice examinations, new practice questions, quizzes, flashcards that you're able to access online. We'd be able to offer kind of slightly more one-to-one service. We're always available to be contacted as well, and we'd be happy to kind of jump into a Zoom meeting with students and help them out with any issues they may have. And we also provide a range of kind of in-person tasting tutorials for students who are learning from a distance and those who are learning in the school that wish to try and get a little bit of extra practice. So those are things that we offer as well. So we have a lot of great support for our students in both online and on the classroom. So we have a lot of different kind of study options in the school that might be more suitable to different kind of learning patterns or more suitable for people's kind of schedules. We do intensive qualifications that run for 6 days. The course runs from Monday through to Friday. And on the Saturday, you come into the school to sit your exam. This is the intensive version. It is fantastic if you only are able to book off 1 week in order to come to the school. However, this does require a lot more kind of input from the students to make sure that they've done all the kind of revision and the preparatory work before the onset of that course. So it does come with that little caveat that before the course starts, maybe 2 months, you've started reading through the materials, you've started using flashcards, you've started kind of studying, revising, and really working through the material, so that when you come into the school, you've already got that great foundation that can be just honed and polished and make sure that you're going into that exam a few days later with the knowledge needed. And then the days in the classroom are really about tasting through the samples and getting that kind of extra kind of knowledge that you all need. We also do a slightly slower version of the course where we do 1 day a week over 6 weeks. These will be weekdays, and courses will start on different days, so you'll be able to hopefully find a format that suits a day that you're able to maybe set aside for that 6-week period. This still requires all that same kind of level of study from the students, but it doesn't necessarily all need to have been done before day 1. You can set aside time each week and study what is going to be the content of the following week, and then use the last few weeks to really just revise over all your content and make sure you're exam ready. So can take a little bit of pressure off compared to those intensive consecutive courses. We also do online offerings that you'll be given access to a online classroom, which will have lots of videos, quizzes, word matching quizzes, flashcards, multiple choice kind of exam questions, and some more kind of short run answer practice questions as well. This is self-guided, so it's much more flexible for those who have very busy schedules and want to learn at their own pace. Again, you'll be able to access the kind of textbooks before the course starts when you book onto these courses. During these 9 weeks, you will be given a dedicated educator who will offer kind of contact time each week via kind of Zoom or similar kind of platforms, and will set assignments which will be graded by that educator as well during that 9 week period. We'll also offer in the school itself a dedicated tasting day. So you'll be able to come in and with myself or another one of the Spirit educators, taste through lots of different samples and get that kind of tasting practice with that direct feedback from an educator in the room. That tasting tutorial will then be followed obviously by the examination, which again, you'd have to come to the school to sit so that you're able to take part in the tasting, the short and answer, and the multiple choice questions. I've mentioned a lot on what we kind of require from our students, not just the level 2 knowledge, but also the dedication and setting aside the time needed and really to take that kind of textbook and really consolidate it down and make sure that you're understanding it and are able to recall it easily. So you'll need to spend the time to read through the materials. We give you a really fantastic textbook, but we also give you kind of study guides, and we'll give you the specification which can be downloaded from our website, which will really detail how the assessment is set up. This work really is enjoyable. You read through it, you kind of get excited, you study it. You then need to build on that and revise thoroughly to make sure the areas that you're maybe slightly weaker in or find slightly more challenging are able to get up to the same level as maybe some of the other categories that you have a better foundation of knowledge on as well. We would expect, hopefully, students to practice their tasting, not just through the course to get ready for the exam, but take those skills learned in the course as well and be able to really practice and make sure they're able to carry on after the course is completed at a high standard. But it is really useful for students to get that extra kind of little bit of practice, and you'll see great results if you do. We would say that the qualification requires on average a minimum of 55 hours of private study in order to achieve a good passing grade. Now, some people might need a little bit more, and adding more kind of study is not ever going to be a bad thing if you're able to fit it in. But we do say a minimum of 55 hours in order to really pass the qualification. And with our online students, that number goes up because obviously you don't have that face-to-face kind of contact time. So it's much more self-guided. So we'd expect you to really having to put into at least 80 hours of private study for an online qualification. Okay. So as I said, how we really support our students, just to go into a little bit of detail, online resources. So we have, this is going to be available for students who both come in to do our classroom courses and additional online resources that go alongside the online resources that are provided for online only students. So both different kind of paths will still get access to all our additional resources that we're constantly updating, constantly adding to, and adding much more kind of practice that you're able to use in your revision. Educator access as well. We would always be able to give our kind of contact information. We have an email that goes through to the educator team itself, but you'd also be able to get your individual educators kind of contact details. So you'd be able to ask them questions and on the kind of topics that you're studying and be able to really kind of make sure you can really polish the knowledge needed in order to pass the exam. We will always offer students who require the additional kind of practice, so we can always, like I say, jump into kind of a Zoom meeting, or after class would be able to help students with questions and queries on tasting and theory, to try and make sure that all students go into the exam with the needed kind of knowledge and the needed kind of skills in order to pass to their satisfaction. And like I say, our student deals are really beneficial as well, for being able to purchase kind of samples at a discounted rate, be able to get publications that can really help build your knowledge as well, and many other things that we'd be able to provide. So how to book? You can make a note of these web addresses, but really just go to the WSETglobal.com website. In the top right corner, if you can see on the kind of the screen grab of what our website looks like, you can see the kind of teal banner, and on the far right hand side it says WSET School London. If you click on there, you can go to our courses, you can go to our kind of spirit section, or our wine, beer, whatever you want to study, and read up a little bit more about the kind of courses itself. Download the specification, which is a kind of details what is going to be on the course, and how the assessment is going to be created for each of them. And then you can see the different study options, and it gives you a little bit of information on consecutive courses, day release, online. And then obviously the final tab, booking onto a course, you can click on it and see availability of courses in the near future. Any questions? We have our student services, dedicated student services team, which is another team that really helps in the more kind of logistical side, aiding our students in booking exams, booking courses, and any other queries that students may have. So student services team at WSETglobal.com comes through to the school student services team that will be able to assist you. So upcoming courses and the prices of our courses. We have £995 will be the price for our consecutive and day release courses that run over those either that week or that month and a half kind of duration. Our online courses come in at £720. So that kind of difference in price is really because an online student would have to source their own samples. If you come into the classroom, the samples will be sourced by us. So we'll give assistance to all our online students on where to purchase good samples, where they can get mini tasting packs of lots of different samples without having to pay for full bottles or half bottles of individual spirits. Would give assistance on that, but that lower price is really to relate to the fact that students have to purchase those separately. Upcoming courses, our next consecutive is at the end of June, so in a month's time, running from Monday to Friday. The deadline of booking is in just a few days' time. So if you're interested, we do need that kind of month lead up before the course starts in order to get the materials out as quickly as possible, so students can do that prerequisite amount of study. For our day release course, the next day release is going to be next academic year in September, running through to mid-October. Booking deadline for this particular qualification is middle of August the 16th. So that might be of note and of interest to many people. Like I said, the upcoming courses can be found on our website, so you can kind of peruse and see which one might be of interest to you. Next online course starting on the 8th of July. Again, if you book onto that, you will get the textbooks and materials sent out as soon as you book on, but the kind of educator contact weeks, those 9 weeks, starts on the 8th with the examination at the school on Friday the 13th. And that tasting tutorial day the day before, so all that skill and all that knowledge that you gain is really fresh for you to go and be able to achieve as well as you can. Okay. So yeah, thank you very much. We'll go and answer some questions in a second, but a few other things to mention. Beyond just our qualifications, we also offer a really exciting range of kind of events in the school. So please go to our website to see what's coming up there. For spirit lovers, I'm doing a gin tasting in a few weeks' time, where I'll be matching some really fantastic world-class gins from across the world with lots of nice ways of serving them. So we do a lot of those non-kind of qualification events in both wine, spirits, beers, etc. And our fortnightly newsletter will detail all of these. So please sign up if you're not already. And thank you very much. Okay. So looking at some of the questions in the chat about prior qualifications from Lynn. If you have the level 3 in wine and spirits and then want on to do the diploma, what level would the level 3 spirits be equivalent in the spirit courses today? Yes, that's a really fantastic question, because I completed my diploma in 2013. So I have a diploma in wines and spirits. In 2016, the qualifications were separated. And for those who studied the diploma before this kind of split, there was a module in the diploma that was on spirits, and it was to a higher level of knowledge than what our current level 2 spirits would be. However, I feel that the level 3 spirit course currently is of a kind of higher degree of knowledge, more kind of complete, and covers a wider, broader kind of set of categories, and goes into a lot more detail. I would say when when I said that you need to have like the equivalent of a level 2, if you had the diploma in wines and spirits, that would be, I believe, kind of an equivalent of what would be required if you wanted to then go on and do the level 3 spirits with us. Hopefully that answers your question then. Stefania, is the level 3 in spirits as difficult as the level 3 in wine? Yes, they are both off-qual kind of qualifications, so they're all at a very much the equivalency. Some people find studying wine easier, it just clicks with them, and some people find studying spirits is easier for them. But overall, holistically, I would say they're both of a similar kind of difficulty level. I found them both super fascinating, so don't let me put you off. They are challenging courses, but they are courses that really differentiate kind of experts in the field to those who haven't done the courses. So don't be alarmed if the courses are tricky. They are worth it in the long run. Hopefully that answers your question. Is it possible to attend an online course? Absolutely, we do offer online courses. And like I said, go on the website and you'll be able to see availability and book on to one of those. And if you're in Italy, we do have students that come from outside of the UK and outside of London, and that's really part of the reason, if I go back on the slide just a second, why our tasting tutorial for those online courses is so close to the exam, is to really make sure those who are traveling from further afield are only need to really book that kind of visit to London over a couple of consecutive days. We wouldn't want to have the tasting tutorial a month before the exam, and then kind of put out students who are traveling from Italy, Spain, or further afield. We want to make sure they're able to attend. For the 9 weeks online courses, the tasting tutorial and exam done in consecutive days. Yes, so that's what I was just answering for Stefania. They're done consecutively. It's both really useful to make sure the tasting knowledge that we provide on day one is super fresh in people's minds, and for students who are traveling from further afield are not put out either. During your online course, there will be plenty of opportunities to taste spirits. We expect students to taste through key samples. You will share your tasting notes with your online educator, who will be able to provide you feedback on each of the individual samples, and your tasting notes, so that they're able to make sure that your skills are there. We then just polish them up the day before the exam, try lots of different kind of examinable samples, and so forth. So, William, yes, your question of if you take the online course and sit the exam in the United States, the exam center would provide the samples. If you were to sit the exam in the United States, then you would be using a different provider than WSET School London. So, going on the WSET Global website, you will be able to use a kind of map locator to find course providers that would have an exam near to where you would be wanting to do it, and they will be providing the tasting samples. If you provide your own, unfortunately, you'd go in with a big advantage on those who didn't provide their own, because you'd know what they were. So they would absolutely provide those samples for you. Oh, so Lynn, yeah, you said your diploma was after the change. The level 3 in wines and spirits, again, email student services team at WSET Global.com, and they will be able to let you know if that is of an equivalency. If they feel that they need to just double check, then they can do an equivalency exam, where you wouldn't have to resit the level 2 spirit qualifications necessarily. You would be able to just take this exam, multiple choice examination, just to assess where your knowledge level is and if you're suitable for going on to the level 3 in spirits. We're not doing this just to be mean. We just want to make sure students go into level 3 with all chances of success and have the prerequisite knowledge rather than just being mean. So hopefully that answers your question there. Is there any expectation of renewal of this certification as the courses develop over time? That's a really good question. Currently, no. Once you've got the qualification, you've got the qualification. If higher level qualifications were created in due course, for example, if we created a level 4 in spirits, and someone had studied their level 3 15, 20 years prior, then we might request that they do again a kind of an equivalency examination, just to make sure that their knowledge is of the prerequisite level to go into the next level of qualification. But no, the certificates as they are not expected to be renewed. We hope that if you do the qualifications with us, then you'll become really excited by all these beautiful kind of spirits and these different kind of fantastic traditions, and you'll be able to further and carry on your knowledge over time. Okay. Right. Well, I think we've gone through all the questions. So a recording of this webinar will be sent out to everyone. Thank you so much for attending live, and yeah, go on WSETglobal.com and look at the WSET School London to see our upcoming courses, and hope you have a wonderful evening. Thank you.